Well, the book is about three women who graduated from Spelman College. And the premise of the book is based on a promise. The promise of life. These three friends made a promise to each other, and the promise was broken, and it really set them on different courses of life. Like many of us, and I don't know how many of us are in here that are like that, but have you ever not been in the place you want to be in life, and you feel like, I'm never going to get there? I know that's me. Well, my three friends that are from Spelman College, that's where they are. They find out that the things they wanted out of life didn't necessarily work the way that they wanted them to. And so the promise that they had made to each other was supposed to set them on that course to be exactly who they're supposed to be. But they find out when they break this promise that doesn't happen. And so one of the particular characters in my book, she's so distraught with herself that she actually becomes different people. She pretends to be a lawyer in one city, a doctor in another city, when in reality she's really a flight attendant. And so I kind of bring that back to full circle because I've known people in life that are not happy with who they are and they pretend to be someone else. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, you really just have to look at who you are and what you're meant to do and whose you are. And I know that my journey has been, I've gone through a lot of businesses, I've gone through a lot of jobs. And at the end of the day, it's funny, I really have to ask myself, who am I? What is it that I really want to do? And so sometimes you go through these journeys until you finally reach your final destination. And that's really what the premise of the book is about, is how these women, through all of their different journeys, how they finally reach that destination and how they end up being, true to themselves. The D, there's a story there too. The D actually started out with just the main character actually being named D. And so I kept it. My husband actually titled the book for me.
Credit where due.
Yeah. Huh?
I should give credit where due.
Yeah, I give him a lot of credit because he's actually helped me do some of the writing in the book, and then there's some scenes in there that are very adult oriented, and he has even gone, how do you know what about right? Where'd you get this from?
He said, I researched it.
Yeah, I researched it. So. Yes, actually, I have major plans. My book, I want it to be a movie. And I know that it has the potential because years ago, hi, how are you? Years ago, well, it wasn't that many years ago, it was about maybe 4 years ago, it was actually read by Turner Broadcasting. And they were looking at it as to be a part of their new series of television shows. And again, long story short, it didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen was because they couldn't figure out why someone who didn't have a book out could get their manuscript all the way out to Hollywood, because that's exactly what happened. And so they were like, this is a really good story, but who is she? How many books has she sold? So I basically was told to just set an example by getting the book sold, getting a lot of people interested, and then, they'll come back and take a look at me. So I am having a sequel to the book. I've already started working on it, and I have like several books in my head that I'm working on. But yes, to answer your question, but my main goal is for it to be a movie. He is on the list. I have a meeting with someone that works with him, and we're just kind of trying to see, what's going to happen. But I don't know. I don't know Tyler Perry. I would like to know Tyler Perry, but I don't know him. Sure did. What I can tell you is that my experiences that I've had are in the book. I don't think that any of the characters are necessarily me, but I do think that I can relate to circumstances that they've gone through. And in particular, probably each one of them, and the only reason why I say that is because, like I was saying early, is because I have been through the journey of really trying to figure out who it was I really wanted to be when I grew up. And and it's taken, you know, like I was telling somebody the other day, it was probably Cherie. I was like, oh my God, it's like taken like a half a decade, because I'll be 50, not this year, but in 2013. And it's amazing to me that all the experiences that I've had, I finally ended up doing exactly what I wanted to do, but it didn't happen the way I thought it should happen. So to answer your question, I think that there are experiences that I've had, but I've also, through my experiences, because I've worked in corporate, I've flown, and I think the job that, for me, that has taught me the most about people was when I flew. Because I have a very peculiar personality, for those that don't know me at all. My friends know, they're like, she sure does. But I'm very peculiar. I'm not the type of person that, I'm very cautious of people if I don't know you. Unless you are someone that I know you're a friend of, or someone that, you know, because I was telling my girlfriend the other day, I said, when you're friends with somebody, I know they're cool because they're your friend. I think I was telling you that. And so, and I feel that way. But it's when I used to fly, that was probably the one job that probably gave me more intuitiveness about people, because I would fly with somebody different every single day. And so you learn so much about women sitting on a jump seat. And then you also learn so much because you're stuck with each other for 3 days. And you're literally confined, and there's nowhere for you to go, so you start talking and learning about people. And so the things that you learn about, you would never tell some people some of the things I learned. And so those stories are in that book, because, I mean, you would just be amazed how people open up. And I was never really one of those people, because in my mind, I was going, now I may run into you, you know, I'm not gonna say nothing that I don't want to get out, you know. So some people feel so free because they feel like they're never gonna see you again. And so some of the personal stories that come out are actually, you know, in that book. So I think it's kind of a combination of things that I've experienced and things that I know other people have experienced. You know what is interesting? I don't think that I am the traditional writer like that. I can't even lie and say that, because I've never taken a formal writing course for this book that I've written. I've just done a lot of reading, and I've read other books, and I use a lot of my imagination, and I've got a really good imagination. I mean, it goes places that sometimes I can't even believe I'm there with my mind. And so what I do, I write, and then I tell you what I do. I bounce it off on him, and he reads. And he reads, and he'll go back and change something, and I don't think you should say that, because that's not realistic. And I'm like, but that's what I want to say, but no, I don't think so. We go back and forth. So that's what I do. I share it with my spouse. And so I think that, because you do want to make sure it is realistic. And so when I get a lot more when I get braver, I'll share it with my best friend, and I'll have her read it. So there's like this little small group that I do share with to make sure that I'm on the right track. And of course she'll say to me, girl, this is good. This is better than some stuff I read. I'm like, you just saying that because you're like, no, I would tell you if I didn't like it, you know. So that's how I do. I'm just not a traditional, I just don't write the traditional way, the way they teach you. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what has worked for me. With that one in particular, with these 3 characters, I kind of did like character sketches for these, and I wrote like where they were from, what their parents did, if they had siblings or not, and I looked at also what type of work they did, you know, who they would be attracted to and things like that. And so I think that for me, and I also started envisioning who I wanted to play the characters when it becomes a movie. So that was the other thing. Well, I'm still debating. So, because I literally sit up in the theaters and I go, Brian, who should be a good D? And he's like, yeah, Years ago, before she was, you know, who she is now, but she's not the best actor to me, was Beyonce, who I had wanted in the beginning, but I've scratched that thought now. But and then Jada Pinkett Smith years ago is who I wanted to play Pam, because Pam is very petite and she's very fiery. But since that time, we have now Megan Good, who I've been thinking about as Pam, actually. And then, I don't know how many of you watch The Young and the Restless? Is anybody? Yeah, okay, well anyway, my mother watches The Young and the Restless. The Young and the Restless has a character on there that has a really pretty face, but she's heavy set. And I just imagine her being Amanda. Then at the time, we were talking about Amanda. We were talking about Jennifer Hudson before she lost all that weight, right? And then we were talking about, so these are, I think about people that I want to actually play the role. And I'm being very honest, I've always seen, oh, this is going to be on the big screen, who's going to play the role? So now I don't know who Dee is going to be. There's so many, for me, like I said, when I started writing it, I envisioned her being just a very attractive, stunning character as the main character. And we were thinking about celebrities, but as I was talking with someone, I said, you know, it would be really neat if they could find somebody who was new, you know, where this was like this was a break that they needed, and you know, the break was with Destination D. So so that's kind of. Okay. Thank you, Candy. Okay, I have no idea after this. Okay. She looked at the large clock on the wall and stretched her arms out. Thank you, doctor. I can see that my 50 minutes are just about over, she said hastily. Not so fast, Miss Bridge. Dee turned around in surprise. What? You can't leave without your assignment, he reminded her with a childlike grin. With a confused look on her face, Dee asked, what assignment? It's an ethics assignment. You definitely have them, he laughed. We've just got to raise the bar on them. No pun intended, he laughed. Dee stared questioningly. When you feel like you're about to be dishonest, I want you to think about your ethics, or in your case, why you haven't become a legitimate attorney. That should be your focal point to help you get on track. After all, even lawyers have ethics, right? Well, it depends on who the lawyer is, Dee thought, smugly nodding in agreement. He could tell that she was still not convinced that this was a feasible idea for her. I'm not saying this is a quick fix, Dee. It's just a part of the process. The decision to stop lying is totally your call. Dee looked up at him briefly. She needed time for all this to soak in. Thanks for your advice. So are you going to take it or not? Dee smiled. I'll let you know next week, she said as she winked and walked out of the office. Dee walked down the hallway from her doctor's office, feeling a vibration on her hip from the inside of her purse. She quickly sifted through the bottom of it, found her cell phone, and glanced at her caller ID. This is Dee. Hey, Desiree, it's me. Hey, Chris, what perfect timing, she thought. Dee was somewhat stupefied at the irony. She sneaked a peek at the doctor's door, hoping he wouldn't walk out and hear her conversation. I was checking in with you. My boy is getting a little antsy about his situation, and I was wondering when you would be able to meet with him. We play in the ATL on Friday. Will you be available to meet then? Maybe we can discuss it over dinner and drinks. Dee was silent for a moment. She thought of the session she just had with her psychiatrist. Doc was right. She needed to face up to the fact that she wasn't a lawyer, and to pose as one would be criminal. However, it wouldn't hurt just to talk to him. No harm done, right? Dee, are you still there? Hey, yeah, I'm here. I was just taking a look at my appointment book. I'm free all weekend. Check with him and let me know what time is good for him to meet. You're a lifesaver, baby. Thank you. It's my pleasure. You know I'll do anything for you, Chris. So, Dee is a big liar. And once again, like I said, she's someone who has passed the bar, graduated from Spelman College, has a law degree from Columbia University, and just hasn't passed that bar. And she's going around practicing being a lawyer. So, and as you read, you know, for those of you that are going to read it, you'll see, you know, how this all evolves from, you know, the promise that she's broken with her friends. So.